Leo, you mentioned a couple of lads won't be here next year. How disappointing is it that something couldn't be worked out to keep James Lowe at the club?
Listen, there's always these things, isn't there? Like you cross the board, and you go into every single example of players that are moving. But that's in the nature of the business that we're in. So business gets done, we move on, and that's all you can do, really, isn't it? So James been brilliant for the club. I still remember the conversation when he was in New Zealand. We had our end of season awards dinner. He was bringing up when my wife and I took James out for dinner to a restaurant in Dublin back then those days. And it's amazing to think what he's gone on to achieve with Leinster and Ireland since then. So, and he's such a big, colourful character, and definitely he will be missed. Then you go on to someone like a Luke McGrath, who has been a warrior for the team. He's the most capped player we have in the group at the moment. We touched on Jerry, who's also made his debut during the course of the season. Who else is in that group that's leaving? Will, another one, yeah. He's injured at the moment. Frauds, great. Obviously, they'll be all crossed. We'll see plenty of them. Rabba, another one who's in the group in terms of what the mentality he brings to set piece. He's been an incredible guy to have in the group. So fond of him now. So everyone brings their different piece. Obviously, Rico, another one in the starting 15. Again, shorter stint. But it's great to see him grow and grow, I think, as the weeks have gone on. I think everyone's seen that, and just even the way he communicates some of that as well. Probably being in a bit of a hole or a bit of a rut, maybe, is probably the polite way of saying it, before he came here. Whereas now he's kind of, his love for the game, and I think you can see it every day. He's coming more and more out of himself in the group, and I think that's a credit to the group that we have as well. So, and that's just the nature of the business that we're in, isn't it? Like but listen, Simon Broughton, our academy manager, will have 7 or 8 fresh faces to come in, and everyone just gets a year older in the building. So, and that's the way it is every year. So, because we're in the growing our own business primarily rather than the recruitment, so it's more like you retain what you retain from the senior group, and then you're recruiting from the system. So, i.e., grow your own. So, and so that's why I would never get that bogged down by, listen, we understand that people move for all sorts of different reasons, and we move on. And listen, the next group is the next group, and I've loved working with all those people I'm talking about. Very, very passionate about them, and you'd love all these journeys to go on forevermore. But listen, we're all wise enough to understand that that's not the reality of top end sport, is it? Because nothing stays the same forever. So, and we need to continue to evolve. We need to continue to bring young guys through, keep that pressure from, it's not the bottom, but it's from the younger cohort, always looking to push through and put pressure on the more senior blokes.
There is a perception of the purse strings are tightening around provinces in general. Is that something you guys are seeing in Leinster this year and in previous years?
But let's try to have a more positive spin on it if we can. You know what I mean? It's as I said, it's on to the next academy guy coming through into the senior system and putting pressure on, and that's the way it happens. Like Luke McGrath at one stage was getting his first cap. You know what I mean? Now he's on whatever it is, 260, whatever it is, and that's just the evolution of the team, as I said. So every year, everyone gets on a little bit older, and listen, we're all comfortable with that.
Yeah, we all saw what happened in last year's final. Obviously, Leinster won quite heavily, and everyone's expecting the Bulls, I suppose, to have a reaction to not to allow that to happen again. So how do you go about counteracting that?
Well, counteracting is, how do we go back to try and impose ourselves on the game first and foremost? So, I think the conditions were quite tricky. Listen, I know there was some rain forecast. Whether that exactly lands on Friday, I'm not 100% sure. So conditions, understanding what's involved there. How do you apply pressure? I thought we were nice and clinical in terms of taking our opportunities. Luke obviously put a nice kick over the top, and Jordy, if you remember, hacked it on and scored one. We made a nice breakdown, shooting up the sideline. So it was clinical in some of the opportunities that we get. So that's the first bit from an attacking point of view. But then there was also defensive sets where we're very resolute in some of our defence, repelling the Bulls back when they're trying to be nice and direct through the middle of us. So we need to be up for that challenge as well. So, but that's, I'm sure the Bulls would have learned different lessons as well. But then, listen, we have a decent lead at half time, but the Bulls will look at their semi-final with confidence because of what they were 21-3 then. So you just not need to, whatever way the game unfolds, you just need to be able to move on to the next thing, and not get too stuck inside your own head and not get stuck in looking too far into the future. It's making sure our players are very present in the moment of the game, and giving energy to lots of people around them. So I said, listen, this is our 7th knockout game, so we've had a bit of practice at it now at this stage. Last season is irrelevant. Yeah, it is, because it's the same team in the same stadium, but there's some different. It's funny when you watch that game back, obviously there's some of our team are the same, and then there's other guys obviously would have been the camera pans to in the crowd that are going to be playing the game today. I think in Caelan as an example, Jemison, a few other guys as well. So and Bulls similar. Listen, they've guys that wouldn't have been involved in the game last year that are in the game this year. So it's the same for both teams. So whether that makes us stronger or them stronger, it's find out tomorrow.
Leo, you mentioned Pollard there, he's a Cup final specialist. I know discipline's important all the time, but when a guy can kick penalties from 55 metres, how important is it to be disciplined and not give him the chance to do it?
Yeah, hopefully he kicks like he did in the semi-final, because he's missed quite a few that day. So I wouldn't be necessarily trying to rely on it though, because as you rightly point out, he is the master when it comes to a final of kicking pressure kicks. So yes, I would be a lot happier if we have a decent lead at the end of the game, but that's going to take a serious amount of work. So, but discipline in big games, as you point out, is massively important, particularly when you've got a very experienced goalkeeper like they have.
Can we just toss some furniture? Leo, the Rico Ioane gets in ahead 150 times capped, Gary Ringrose, the Dan Sheehan is out. We just need to have an update on that. And I'm just looking at Max Deegan there. Could you just tell us what he particularly brings? I'm not suggesting it's an unusual selection. He has played 160 times for Leinster. He's played 10 times more than Gary Ringrose has, for instance. So you go Rico, Dan, and Gary.
Yeah, there's a balance, isn't there? Because I think we're very conscious in terms of finishing the game strongly. So listen, obviously Dan missed the semi-final. It wasn't last week, it was the week before, but he missed the semi-final. And Gary has been carrying the needle as well. So that plays into a bit. But those two very experienced players being on the field for the last 20-30 minutes is something that we really value. So impact number one. So obviously we can't start at the end of the game, but it's something that we're very conscious of. And then Max, in terms of the sixth role, he's been excellent at that in terms of the pressure he puts around set piece, especially. So, and again with Jack Collins' impact off the bench as well, that's something that we would really value. So, yeah, there's a little bit in that for sure. But listen, the way the game is now, it's a proper 23-man game, and the impact some of those guys will bring will be massively important, because listen, we believe the Bulls have a strong squad as well, and they want to have that level of impact, and you saw that in their semi-final against Glasgow, where they were growing as the game goes on. And listen, Glasgow didn't fire that many accurate shots in the last 20 minutes, I think. So you understand what I mean by accurate shots. So giving the ball and getting themselves into that, where they can't get out of their own territory. But that's a lot to do with some of the pressure that Bulls put on them. So I think that end of game will be important for us. I'd love to say we're well ahead at that stage, and those guys can ram home our advantage. But listen, we need to be prepared for everything.
Anyone else?
Thank you. Leo, I'm not sure if it's yourself or Jack and maybe a couple of lads who talk about the energy of Bilbao, and just in the week leading up to it, regardless of the lessons with being more technical or clearing your lines, to build up in a week like this, how organic is it, or is it something you focus on as a coaching group or a leadership group? How do you get the energy right leading up to the game?
It's a mix, because of obviously we had the bye week, which is, as I said, it's a strange thing, isn't it? Because you're moving into middle to end of June now, which is again it's for all of us getting our heads around that. It's a bit different. So yeah, like it's managing the energy of the group. So it's trying to get the right amount of training in, not too much, not too little, basically. We had I said end of the season sort of wrap up dinner on Tuesday last week, which is important. It's great. It's not just the professional team. Like you get a proper look at some of the great stuff that goes on in Leinster, like with the clubs and the schools, and there's some amazing stuff goes on. You get some characters from Leinster in the amateur days, and it's just the way those dinners are set up. And it's really important because I don't know, is there natural negativity out there? I don't. But in terms of positivity, there was a real good feel-good piece to that. So then, rest up over the weekend. It was important that guys, and I even listened to Johan talk last week about them flying back to South Africa. I understand, like going back to families and all the rest is important, even though that means that they're in a plane journey all the way back to fly all the way back again. So, but I understand the logic of what they've done. So, but yeah, like then it's just the guys are excited to get out there and one final push, isn't it? Like, and it's someone will never play for Leinster potentially ever again. And like it's important that we it's relish the time together. So we didn't have very many sessions, so there was a number of sessions, and then you realise, okay, that the players first of all realise that's all the sessions that we have left, and it's okay. Let's commit to these sessions going into a final, and then we're off we go now into the game. So it's trying to get the balance right. But we also addressed this in the final part as well, because if you think when we played the final after Bilbao, we sort of had a plan. There was a bit of a sort of decompress off the back of that, whether we won that game or lost that game. So it was trying to stay consistent to that plan and to get ready for a quarter final. Because if you won that game, trying to get up, obviously Bordeaux as an example won the final. They won that game. Off the back of that, they struggled to get up for the couple of weeks after that. Which is, again, that's the mental challenge, isn't it, of the game that we play, because you've got to get up for the physical challenge. And like that's the beauty of these occasions. It's proper gladiatorial stuff, isn't it? Like, and that's what everyone loves about the game. And they're amazing contests, and that's why they're the players that are out there, they're physically and mentally ready for the challenge. So, but to answer your question, it's a very long-winded answer, but we would have, touched on that post the final, because we've had that painful experience of that. We don't want that to happen again. We look back, we've asked ourselves lots of questions of things that we do differently. I don't think it's due to be 30 degrees here now on the weekend, on Friday. But it's hot out there today, to be fair. But it's still a good bit off what it was like in Bilbao.
Everybody happy?
Please. Hi there, can I just ask about Joe McCarthy? He seemed to sit out training. Will he be okay for Friday?
Yeah, hopefully Joe's okay. Yeah, a bit of a niggle there today. So anyway, we just tried to manage him through the session today. But listen, hopefully he's okay.